How you doing, everyone? Welcome back to Inside Man United. My name is Rowan Brennan, and this is the morning news. Welcome back. And the international week is almost over. Many of our first team players have been featuring, and quite prominently, with Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandez, Casemiro, all featuring quite prominently for their countries, with some injury scares, some people finding form, so lots to get in there as well. And there is also a couple of signings from Germany that United have been linked with, both in the striker and wing position. So some pretty interesting developments in there. So let's get into it. First up with our international news is Marcus Rashford got a start today, last night, with Calvert-Phillips in midfield. A little bit of a mix-up and changing of the first 11, reacting to some injuries. Obviously, Saka is out, so Marcus Rashford got the nod and combined very, very well with Jude Bellingham, who just seems to keep impressing with every game he plays, despite his tender years and wearing Zidane's number for Madrid. He's lighting up La Liga and doing the exact same for England, and combined incredibly well, winning the ball deep, playing it forward, driving through the midfield, playing Marcus in, who had about a 30-yard run through on goal from his favourite left-hand side and smashed the ball top right. Very reminiscent of Marcus of last year. So yet another United player playing very well on the international stage, who just does not seem to be replicating it for club. But hopefully this is going to give him a little bit of a confidence boost. And we know Marcus likes to kind of go on these scoring runs when he gets a bit of a sniff. He's quite a confidence player, as we all know. So yeah, looks like Marcus is maybe getting his eye for goal again, and certainly going to be starting out on the left wide position for United against Sheffield. Stay tuned. I'm going to be doing a preview of the United Sheffield game later on today. I should have that released by the early afternoon, so keep an eye out for that. So yeah, great news for United fans that Marcus is kind of getting the scoring boots on, and Italy have now qualified for the Euros. So hopefully that's going to allow Southgate to play some more of his fringe players. At the moment, Marcus is kind of one of the fringe players, with Saka being preferred, and Grealish usually playing out wide with Kane through the middle. So maybe this means Marcus will be played more for England. I don't know. The last thing United need is more miles on the clock for any of their players at the moment. But yeah, listen, good news all round. Great to see Marcus score. England are through, and good news all round. On the good news front, Casemiro, it was seen, scroll back up here. Casemiro injury could be blessing in disguise for Manchester United. So Casemiro did pick up a knock while captaining Brazil, and actually requested to be taken off to his manager because he took a knock to the ankle. The Manchester Evening News saying this could be a blessing in disguise because it will give United a chance to play a different kind of midfield, and they'd be forced into making decisions that they wouldn't usually make, because it does seem when Casemiro's fit, obviously Ten Hag likes to play him. He's not in a rich vein of form, at least defensively, but he is, oddly enough, United's top scorer this season with 4 goals. So his contributions in the forward sense has been pretty potent, actually, thankfully. But yeah, in the defensive kind of perspective, he hasn't been doing too well. But again, he seemed to be playing absolutely fine for Brazil until he took that knock. So that poor form he's got for United just does not seem to be translating into the Brazilian national team, much like Marcus Rashford. So they were saying that we might be forced to play a different midfield. But today, the Mail Online is saying that United have been handed a major boost as Casemiro is spotted back in training after picking up a knock against Venezuela. So Erik Ten Hag obviously battling an injury crisis that has placed 8 senior players out of action. Now, it looks like he was training with the Brazil squad before their next game, laughing, smiling, running around, so his ankle seems to be fine. Having said that, I would still rest Casemiro. We're coming up against a Sheffield United team who aren't too potent in attack. I don't think we're going to need to be as defensively minded or need to risk some of our bigger players, especially with the Copenhagen game coming up 3 days later. And that is an absolute must-win game. If we do not win that game and win it convincingly, I think United can kiss their chances of qualifying out of that group goodbye. As you well know, we lost the first 2 games in close fashion, high-scoring fashion, but once again, 0 points on the board. So we need to win against Copenhagen. And I'm hoping that he gives our bigger players an opportunity to rest. So that would be Casemiro, and it would also include one Bruno Fernandez. You can see here Casemiro pointing and laughing with his buddy Neymar there. So yeah, players that are expected back for United would be, I think, Reguilon and Varane at the moment. So hopefully we will see them coming back. It's been a little bit tough for United at the moment. So players that we're expecting back should be Reguilon and Varane. They should be coming back and should feature in this game. Again, it might be a good opportunity just to wrap them up in cotton wool and make sure that they're fit and ready for the Sheffield United game, or sorry, for the Copenhagen game. I would start playing some more of a fringe player. I would play Johnny Evans and Maguire in the centre of defence. Regulon out left, if possible. We do need to have a left back because we just don't have one. We don't have a fit, natural left back to play. I don't want to see Amrabat there too often. So yeah, would like to see Amrabat maybe squeezing into midfield with Scott McTominay, who's been doing well for Scotland, did well for United in this last game. I am by no means saying Scott McTominay should be starting for United. There's a very big split in social media groups with regard to Scott McTominay at the moment. I mean, everyone's going, yeah, but he's been shite for years. So let's not forget all about that because he's just scored a couple of goals and, you know, is doing well for Scotland against shy teams in their group. I get all that. And for the most part, I do agree. However, he does seem to be in a little bit of a rich vein of form. We do need to rest players. So I'd be in no rush to be bringing back our heavy hitters against Sheffield United. Every game we have to win. Totally understand that. But Copenhagen is way more important. We can't not win that game. And I think they're going to be a slightly more difficult opponent for us than Sheffield. I think we should have the manpower to get past Sheffield United. But again, this season, you can't take anything for granted. Other heavy hitters in midfield is our beloved captain, Bruno Fernandez. So let's try and just increase the size of this now a little bit. We'll see if we can get that a little bit better. Yeah. So Portugal, you know, absolutely dismantling Bosnia and Herzegovina earlier in the week, and Ronaldo scored twice in a 5-0 victory over Bosnia and Herzegovina. However, let me get rid of this boyo. Bruno Fernandez, João Cancelo, and João Felix also scored and made it 8 wins from 8. So Portugal absolutely steamrolling that group. However, despite his 2 goals by Cristiano Ronaldo, our boy Bruno still got man of the match. He got 2 assists and a goal himself. So Bruno Fernandez proving he's got the chops. There's still people. I flip-flap with Bruno because his form in the league hasn't been great. He only got 8 goals and 8 assists last season. We were a low-scoring team, and he's there to make sure we're not a low-scoring team, either in terms of creating goals for others or scoring them himself. And his goals and assists have kind of persistently dropped since his first season. Now, listen, we've had a succession of different managers, different players, absolute chaos in the club, but we still need the guy to perform. However, he did get man of the match yesterday. He scored a 9 out of 10 with other players getting 8 out of 10. Ronaldo got an 8. He got 2 goals. Still wasn't enough for him to be able to snatch man of the match away from our boy. If we go down here, player of the match, Bruno Fernandez, instrumental to everything positive. The Manchester United forward grabbed 2 assists and a goal of his own. If we look at the player ratings here, we can see Mr. Fernandez on a 9 with a star. João Felix got João Felix got a 9 as well. But Fernandez obviously pipping him to the man of the match award. It's very strange how, you know, Casemiro still doing okay for Brazil, Rashford banging in a goal for England, Bruno doing great for Portugal, but these players just do not seem to be able to get it done on the pitch for United. And that's when you kind of get these justifiable arguments as to what the hell is Ten Hag doing. I'm a fan of Ten Hag's. I think he's had to deal with things that absolutely no manager in my memory, or I think in anyone else's history books, can remember any manager having to go through the same amount of shit in such a condensed amount of time, between injuries, takeovers, scandals, like big scandals, losing star players, dropping captains, replacing Golden Glove tenured goalkeepers, injuries coming out from everywhere. I mean, it's unfathomable the amount of shit that he's had to go through. So he's got a lot of credit in the bank from me, and I think he overachieved last year. I don't think that squad was anywhere near being able to get a third place or to be winning trophies last year. And I think he worked miracles. And this year it's starting to kind of come back and bite him in the ass a little bit. But I would give him at least another 2 seasons. So I'm firmly a Ten Hag man. But you have to start asking questions when you've got, Ronaldo, who you fucked out, scoring goals for fun for Portugal, getting another 2 goals. Fernandez playing very well for Portugal every time he rolls out. Bruno Fernandez has 20 goal involvements in 16 games for Portugal. He has 11 goals and 9 assists. It's unbelievable, his form. It is world class, Ballon d'Or winner type of performances from Bruno Fernandes for Portugal. And it's just a mystery why we're not able to see that on the pitch for United. Again, I would be resting Bruno and Casemiro for the game against Sheffield United. I'd be maybe bringing in Mount to play in that number 10, maybe bring in Eriksen. You might have you've got the legs of Amrabat and McTominay to come in midfield and, cover ground and get around the pitch, which they're both very, very good at doing. It just means Eriksen can maybe just stay up top. He hasn't been playing well himself. Maybe he could slot Mount in there, get Garnacho out on the right, Rashford on the left, or just try and mix things up a little bit and get some other players in there. So interesting to see what he will do. Again, Sheffield United is a must-win game, but we need to keep our heavy hitters fit for that Copenhagen game, because if we lose that, it's bye-bye Champions League, and that's not going to be acceptable with us having waited so long to get back into the goddamn competition. For us to crash out in such ignominious style would be, frankly, a disaster. And I think that should be prioritized ahead of the Sheffield United game at the moment. So, decisions to be made for Mr. Ten Hag there. So this is the injury updates that I wanted to show everyone. This weekend's trip to Sheffield may also see Varane and Reguilon declared fit to hand Erik Ten Hag much needed defensive reinforcements. Let's close this bad boy here. Let's enlarge this page a little bit, make things a little bit easier for you guys to see. Luke Shaw, still way off. Martinez isn't going to play again this season. Kobbie Mainoo was near to coming back, suffered a little bit of a setback, and they were looking for him to play in that behind doors friendly against Barnsley where we won 3-0. But again, he just kind of pulled out. Casemiro, ankle injury picked up in Brazil. But he seems to be okay, but I would rest him because our players need rest. They've been run into the ground. So I'd be resting Casemiro. He has to come off due to a blow to his ankle. Casemiro is pictured in training. Again, we saw these pictures earlier. Luke Shaw, he's still going to be out for a while. Maybe late November is when he's going to be coming back. And then we've got Raphael Varane, who should be coming back against Sheffield United. Fingers crossed he's able to do that. And Lisandro Martinez, again, going to be out for a while. Diallo, the same. Kobbie Mainoo, again, the same. Sergio Reguilon, he is looking to come back against Sheffield United, and not a minute too soon. We've got no left-footed defenders to play out there, so it's pretty desperate that we get him back. So fingers crossed he's going to be ready by Sunday, and he's given everything he needs to start. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Tyrell Malacia, again, all these guys out. So still a pretty significant injury list, but Reguilon and Varane looking to come back. Again, I would save Varane for the Copenhagen game. I'd be bringing in maybe Johnny Evans or Lindelof to partner Harry Maguire. I think we just need to keep those big guns of ours wrapped up in cotton wool. Moving on to transfer talk. So United are keeping a very keen eye on the ranks at RB Leipzig. So United and Ten Hag willing to spend up to 90 million euro to sign deadly striker that Ten Hag obsesses with to replace fading force. So here is our man that we're talking about. And this is Luis Openda. Okay. And he's a Belgian. playing with RB Leipzig. And he's looking to bring in another young kind of heavy hitter. Personally, I would want Evan Ferguson, not only just because I'm Irish and we have lacked a very potent Irish player in the United first 11 basically since Roy left. Was John O'Shea there after Roy Keane? I'm not too sure. But, it's not right not seeing an Irishman in the starting 11. I would consider Johnny Evans an Irishman, but we won't get into that political discussion just yet. Between Rashford's loss of form, Højlund being a young lad just trying to find his feet, and most importantly, Martial, it seems that Ten Hag has lost all faith in our dynamic Frenchman, who just really hasn't ever hit the heights consistently that we expected of him. He's had a couple of good seasons in what is now his 9th season. He's only really had 2 good seasons that were worthy of any sort of cheer or positivity. It does look like United are now going to be in for Lois Opendo. And joining him, there is Xavi Simons, a right-sided forward, also playing for RB Leipzig. So PSG are looking at him as well. So a right-sided winger enjoying a brilliant campaign last year with Eindhoven, scoring 19 goals in 34 appearances. So doing very, very well there with 9 assists. I think Simons Hall provided his quality, with PSG opting to re-sign him less than a year after they let him go to the Dutch club. However, the Parisians immediately sent the 20-year-old out on loan, this time to Leipzig. So he's on loan at Leipzig at the moment. So PSG do own him. Now, they might want to keep him, but if they get a significant offer, there's every reason United could be going back in for him, with Greenwood looking like he might be staying in Getafe, Anthony not really doing what he should, Sancho definitely gone, and Pellistri, with the jury still out on him, he could be one of the fall guys in United trying to get their FFP in order. So seeing as he's a youth player, he cost us nothing. If we managed to get 20-30 million for Pellistri, that would work wonders for our FFP. So according to L'Equipe, PSG received 2 offers in the summer for the winger, one from Leipzig and the other from United. Both of these bids are thought to be permanent, but were rejected due to a clause between PSG and PSV, which reportedly states if Simons was to be sold before next season, the Dutch club would receive the transfer fee and not the French team. Very interesting. Therefore, a loan proposal was the only offer available on the table in the transfer window, and Leipzig decided to agree to it. Elsewhere, the Reds have been told that they could miss out on promising Palmeiras attacker midfielder Luis Guilherme if they do not act quickly. I already covered our interest in Luis Guilherme last week in one of our episodes. You'll see his face in the thumbnail of an episode from last week, so check that out if you want some more details on that. Just to kind of go back to Luis Openda, I just want to see how many goals he's got. I think he's got 4 and 6. 4 and 6 Bundesliga appearance. So he's got 5 goals in 10 games, but 4 and 6 in the Bundesliga, and he's got 2 assists. So got a goal contribution every 1.4 games. It looks like Ten Hag wants to build a young kind of squad that he can mold into what he wants. He also seems to be struggling. There seems to be a little bit of talk at the boardroom that, these are just rumors, of course, that Ten Hag's handling of the Sancho situation has kind of shown that he's not really able to handle the big egos. I think he's able to handle the big egos quite well in terms of how he handled Ronaldo and getting him out of the club. Now, you can say that's not handling it well. I think it is. A lot of people did. And I think his handling of Sancho has been absolutely spot on as well. But there's stuff in the papers. You don't know whether it's true that they're just wondering, is he the type of manager that does well with young lads that will shut up? And does he have the stones, the gravitas and the finesse of being able to deal with those larger personalities? Because Ten Hag has always been dealing with young lads in Ajax, at the Bayern Munich B team, obviously at Utrecht and other smaller teams. He's the boss man. These kind of players are just kind of coming up and trying to start their career. So they're not really going to be, puffing their chests out and challenging the manager all that much. But when you play for, or when you manage a team like United, you're going to be dealing with huge amounts of egos, dressing room wars, big egos that are out of control, looking to get starts, who don't really care who you are as a manager, and want to get their game time or believe that the way they want to do things is the right way of doing it. It takes a special kind of personality to be able to deal with those kind of personalities. It looks like he is trying to build one of these teams, a young, dynamic, exciting, skillful, energetic team. So let's see what happens there on that front. So that's it, everybody, for this morning news. Thank you very, very much for joining in. Leave your comments. What do you think? How do you think the lineup should be against Sheffield United, knowing that we have that game against Copenhagen coming up. So big decisions for Ten Hag there. Please leave your comments. What do you think of these two young Leipzig players? Does anybody have any other information? Has anybody seen these guys play regularly? Would you go for someone else? Are there other players that you prefer us to go for? If we've got 90 million burning a hole in our pocket, would you not go for Evan Ferguson? I know I would. So yeah, give us your thoughts. But listen, thank you so much for tuning in. Give us a like. Hit subscribe, hit notifications. Keep an eye out for the video I'm going to be releasing later on today with my preview of United v Sheffield United, what I believe the lineup should be and how I think we need to approach that game, especially with Copenhagen just around the corner. Everybody have a very good day. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.